Our community is the driving force behind our stores. Our commitment to you has been our #1 priority for over 30 years. Whether it is providing quality, fresh, local, and affordable products or aiding local schools, churches, and charities, Piggly Wiggly is here for you.
I wish you could taste how much better food tastes when cooked on a Green Mountain grill. But I can let you in on the reason that's true. Our pellets contain water, so they create steam while you cook, keeping your food moist. Does a gas or charcoal grill do that? I think not.
Come and see us at Southern Grill and Patio, just off the square in Troy.
Troy Cable Security Wi-Fi doorbell camera allows you to answer the door from your smartphone when you are at home, at work, or on the go. When a visitor presses the button, Troy Cable Security sends a live video feed to your smartphone, so you can see, hear, and speak to the person at your door. With the doorbell camera, you can have your porch light turn on automatically when it detects motion at night to create the appearance that someone is at home. You can view video clips so you can always know who stopped by when you are out. Troy Cable Security. You love them, protect them.
Life is hectic enough without worrying if your lights will stay on or if there's hot water for your child's bath. So count on natural gas to keep the energy flowing, even when the weather is unpredictable. Natural gas is always there to keep your home warm, showers hot, and food cooked to perfection. That's why America has relied on safe and affordable natural gas for more than 150 years. And we will be here for you and future generations too. You can count on natural gas from Southeast Alabama Gas District.
Right here, right now. It's the Premier Super Truck Sale. 1,500, 2,500, 3,500, and even a 4,500. Ram, Ford, Chevy, GMC. Over 55 trucks. Super Truck Sale price. Save up to $10,000 on select models. Nobody beats a Premier deal. Nobody.
Community is the driving force behind our stores. Our commitment to you has been our #1 priority for over 30 years. Whether it is providing quality, fresh, local, and affordable products or aiding local schools, churches, and charities, Piggly Wiggly is here for you.
Fourth place yesterday. Good morning and welcome to Today in L.A. My name's Mike Amos. His name is, what's your name again?
William James Rice Jr.
William James Rice Jr. of Hillcrest Boulevard in Troy, Alabama.
Yep.
Of course, coming to us live from our studios on South Brundage Street of Troy Cable Vision, and of course, what's the name of our new store?
God, we got a lot of new stores, I think.
And of course, we want to mention our good friends at Bird Drugs this morning, Joe Watson and his pa-in-law, or I should say, Mr. Bird, has had that store open.
I got to do
1940.
I got to do a story for Troy Cable on the history of Bird Drugs. I did a great interview several months ago with the Watsons, and I learned some of that history, Mike. And you know, Joe met Evelyn at Auburn in pharmacy school, and they've had a wonderful marriage. But Mr. Bird passed away not long after the Watsons had got married, and Joe took over running that business when he was in his mid-20s, I think.
When Evelyn got there, she said, I got to find a good pharmacist to take over for my daddy one day, and she did.
Yep, if that was her goal, she succeeded.
They don't come in better than Joe Watson, and we appreciate him and Bird Drugs being one of our sponsors. Of course, I want to mention today the great folks at Express Oil Change on the bypass, and that's in there in 10 minutes and out in 10 minutes.
I need to go see them. I need an oil change. My low oil light is on in my car.
Well, I tell you, they're the best, and they not only can do work on your oil, but he'll check everything else out in your vehicle, and if it needs repair, they can do it right there at their shop on
Yeah, they do a lot more than just oil changes. That's for sure.
The Withington Group, Johnny Withington, one of the all-time great people of Troy and Pike County. I don't think he gets enough credit of
I
how
agree.
he served his community over the years as the spokesman for the Troy City Council, and I think he had that position about 30 years. And what a great man, what a great layman in the church, and just a super person, John Withington. He would go down in my top 10 All-Americans in this town.
He is a class gentleman and just kind of a real role model, the way he's lived his life and served the community.
Yeah, and I put him down in my top 10, and Joe Watson would definitely be one of my top 10 people, along with Calhoun and Falk.
Yeah, I agree so far with your list. Keep going.
And Joe hails from Sampson, Alabama, and every time I pass the drive-in theater, I think of Joe and Peggy and all the great folks that grew up in Sampson, Alabama.
Think of all these people that you're named.
For the last 40 years or more.
Yeah, and they're still working and serving the community today. So what that tells me is they enjoy their work.
That's right.
Like, if you enjoy what you're doing and you're good at it, keep doing it.
And of course, his community, I tell you, as an attorney, he and Calhoun and Falk have been about as good as you're going to find anywhere, I would say.
Well, they're good friends and great lawyers and great Trojans. They weren't raised in Troy, but they became Trojans.
That's right, no question about it. I want to mention the Alabama Real Estate Connection. See Carol Amos buying or selling today at 372-2001.
You're going to put her in your top 10, I hope.
Yeah,
Carol Amos?
Yeah, exactly. No question. She's in my top 10, you're right. And of course, I hope everybody's doing well at Troy Bank and Trust Company. Remember, Troy Bank and Trust Company is the only bank you'll ever need. And then, of course, I want to mention
Jeff Kirby and all the people at Troy Bank and Trust.
Yeah,
let's put them in our top.
Alabama.
Our top 10 is going to be a top 200 before we're finished.
That's a new logo for Southeast Gas, and we appreciate them so much, being a long-time supporter of our show, and Greg and all the folks in Andalusia. Hello. Here comes somebody in here today, Rice. Good morning. How you doing?
I forgot to do my Guten Morgen.
Hey, morning. Big day today for Troy University Athletics. Marcus Ware could get his name called as a first ballot NFL Hall of Famer.
Wouldn't that be something? Do you feel like he's going to get it, Mike?
A lot of people think he will. So, I guess we'll hear sometime today. We watched his career throughout, and phenomenal career. Troy, unbelievable career with the Cowboys, and then he finished it with 2.5 sacks in the Super Bowl. With the Denver Broncos when Peyton Manning got his last Super Bowl.
I watched. I'm sorry, Michael. I watched.
No, I'm just saying that he had a great career.
I watched him in that game because I put some money on him as you can bet on the most valuable player, and I said I'm going to bet on him. He had pretty good odds, and he lost out, I think, to the other pass rusher that had a great game, but he was right there. I mean, he had he would have been the second most valuable player in that game.
Well,
Yeah,
not only.
I told a buddy of mine this week about odds. He had $20 on Jordan Speed on Sunday to win Pebble Beach. I mean, it was a future bet, so he picked it on Tuesday of last week. So he put $20 down. All Jordan Speed had to do, I mean, not all he had to do, but if he won the tournament, which he was up on one stroke on 17, my buddy would have won $360 on a $20 bet.
Didn't pan out though for him, did it?
I know it didn't pan out, but I'm just saying though. I mean, like, isn't that crazy though?
I know the odds. You're right. Yeah.
I did one of those bets on what's the golfer from Alabama that's so good?
Justin Thomas.
Justin Thomas one time, and those future odds change after every round, and he had a bad first or second round, and he had real high odds on him winning. So I said, well, I'll put $10 on Justin because I know he can go low at any time. I mean, he can shoot a 61 or a 60 easily. He's done it many times, and sure enough, he did it. I mean, he went from almost, not making the cut to the top of the leaderboard, and he won the tournament. And so, that little $10 bet paid me a lot of money.
Well,
can't believe Alabama against Ole Miss last night in basketball. They couldn't, make a shot to save their lives against Kentucky. I think they were like 20% for the game. They were 64% from the three-point line last night. Beat Ole Miss at Ole Miss 97 to 83. So they went from 55 points to 97 points.
Golly, at Ole Miss.
It's one of these box of chocolate teams. You never know what you're going to get with them.
How about how much of the great three-point shooter score, Mike? How many he get?
Shackelford scored 30 last night.
Shackelford got 30, and then the night before against Kentucky, he couldn't buy a three-point shot.
Yeah, they shot 10% against Kentucky, and they shot 63% last night.
Alabama, you can't write them off because they've shown that on any given game they can be fantastic. Some people have compared them to UCLA last year. You remember that got hot and put Alabama out?
Yeah.
I think they got to the final game and almost won that game. But you looked at their mid-season and they lost a lot of games. And then they just finally hit their groove at the right time.
Yeah, Alabama was 14 for 22 from the three-point line. Against Kentucky, they were 3 for 30.
Oh, boy.
That's crazy.
Live by the three, die by the three.
You're right, no question about it.
Yeah, Shackelford had 8 three-pointers last night for Alabama.
8 three-pointers. Whoa.
14 three-pointers in the game is a lot, but as we've been talking this week about the Troy basketball team under Coach Maestri that scored 258 points, that team hit 51 three-pointers in one game, and we also learned that when Troy went Division I, they had one game where they hit 28 three-pointers as a Division I team, which Coach Maestri said is still the record in Division I basketball for three-pointers made in the game.
Sure is.
Yeah, it says Alabama is strength of schedule is the strongest in the country, and right now, if the NCAA tournament was today, they'd be a number 5 or number 6 seed.
That's great.
And they're not even 500 in the SEC,
Yeah.
I don't think.
And Auburn coming off of their loss to Arkansas, Mike, who they got this week?
Oh, no, I have to pull that up. Arkansas got fined $250,000.
Can you believe that? Just because the people hit the court now, you reckon did they ruin the court or what? I would think if you had to pay for a new court, you could Mike could go with that, but not because of fans. Hey, that's the fans' floor anyway.
That's my fault too, Mike. These bureaucrats in these leagues, they like to exert their power and punish people for breaking the rules. And they have this rule that you can't storm a football field or you can't go celebrate a victory on the basketball court. But that is outrageous to me.
And of course,
Auburn will be home against Texas A&M.
Right. What's happening at Auburn, Mike? What is happening at Auburn in football?
Nothing overnight. It still goes to job as far as I know. So Will Matthews' prediction did not come to pass.
Will Matthews
maybe something will happen today.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be something if they keep him after everybody just kind of assumes that he's gone?
In a way, I don't see how they can keep him. If any of those things are true, I'm not going to get involved in his social activities or whatever.
Oh, have you heard some things?
Well, yes, I have heard some things, but I'm gonna leave it at that. I haven't heard.
Nothing confirmed. You just
everybody's got a life, and I reckon he deserves to live it just like anybody else. But we don't know at all about.
Yeah, we don't know what's going on behind
when we get behind closed doors. We don't know, ladies and gentlemen. We always
number one hit.
And, look, I look like Charlie Rich this morning. And when we get behind closed doors.
Sad news here for a lot of Troy baseball fans from over the years. The great Rudy Abbott, Hall of Fame, Jacksonville State baseball coach, dies at 81.
Oh, gosh, I'm sorry to hear that. Rudy Abbott, hey, you know what? He won over 1,000 games, Mike.
Old bird legs, they used to call it.
Old bird legs, but you know what?
The Mafia is screaming at him.
You know what though about him? Hey, he was Jacksonville's coach, and during that era, Troy and Jacksonville were two of the biggest rivals in baseball, college baseball history, and he, like I said, at 81, he won over 1,000 games in his career, Mike, more than anybody around these parts. I'll promise you.
Abbott won 1,003 games from 1970 to 2001 at his alma mater, the only coaching job he ever had. He led the Gamecocks to back-to-back Division II national championships in 1990 and 1991.
And I'll tell you something else about him that a lot of people don't know. He was their SID.
Huh?
He was their sports information guy, Mike, just like Tom Enzi was at Troy. He was our SID at Jacksonville, and that means he covered football as a sports information director, and basketball as a sports information director. And when baseball came around, he kept up with the batting averages and all that. He was a great man, and
I remember him well because I went to all those games. And boy, you're right. The Mafia would get on to him.
Oh yeah.
And so I bought it and said, "Oh, he's an awful guy. He's a communist." But he was a great guy. He just coached our rival.
Yeah. At that time, I really didn't like him.
He went to 7 College World Series and 4 straight from 1988 to 91. He won the Gus House Conference 8 times. I won the Trans-American Athletic Conference and Atlantic Sun Conference 3 times. Well, he was a great coach.
Oh, he was a great coach, and Chase had great respect for him. You never heard Chase. Well, you never tell you something about Chase. You never ever hear him say anything bad about anybody.
Nope.
I'll put Chase Riddle down in my top 10 along with Leon Hillier.
Exactly.
Hey, look.
What about Jack Rainey, who succeeded Leon Hillier?
That's right. He's a great man. Jack Rainey's a great man. He comes from those Raineys of Greenville. Rainey's Tuffy Rainey and Lyle Ed were his brothers.
Abbott grew up in Anniston and was a multi-sport star at Walter Wellborn High School and at Jones County, Mississippi Junior College before returning home to pitch at Jacksonville State after throwing a pair of no-hitters. As a junior at Jacksonville State, he signed with the Pittsburgh Pirates and pitched 2 seasons in their minor league organization. It said Abbott died of complications of COVID-related pneumonia.
Well, gosh, COVID got another friend of mine.
I'm sure he was vaccinated.
All right.
What's my little girls doing today? Mary Prater and Millie, what are they doing?
Millie has to come tell me stuff all the time. So.
Well, that's good, and she's a sweet girl. I promise you that.
Yeah, I'm doing my first daddy-daughter dance this weekend.
Tell me about it, Mike. It's the first I've heard about that. Tell me about it.
Well, I'm just asking, Rice, have you ever had to do a daddy-daughter dance?
Not yet. They were real popular at the Montgomery YMCA. I worked closely with that great YMCA up there, and they had a real big daddy-daughter YMCA.
Yeah. Well, that's going to be a lot of fun, Mike. You gonna have to wear a tuck or what?
I don't know. I don't think anybody dresses up down here. I might wear a blazer. I might do all this.
That's right.
It's going to be at Dune Lakes Elementary School on Saturday night.
Well, that's great, Mike.
Let me go take care of Millie real quick.
All right, take care. And Millie is his little daughter. She's 4, and Mary Prater will soon be 6, and it's fun to watch those kids grow. No question about it. But talking about Rudy Abbott, ladies and gentlemen, the great baseball coach at Jacksonville State. And like I mentioned, I never heard Coach Riddle say anything bad about anybody. It's about the same way with Leon Hillier. You know, these guys are people that were great people in our society, and you know, Rudy and his team were always competitive, and it was always good to see us wear them out. You know, too. You know.
Well, Coach Abbott died at 81, and Michael just told us he got the head coaching job in 1970.
Yeah.
So he was either 28 or 29 when he became the head coach.
Yeah.
So how you can hire a young person, and it turns out fine.
How long again was he the baseball coach?
He said from 1970 to 2001, so 31 years.
Yeah, 31 years, and he reigned roost at Jacksonville State.
About the same Coach Maestri coached for 30 years.
Yeah, and Harry, bless your heart, bless my Harry Baker's heart. He's in heaven looking down over us, and especially when we're playing baseball at Troy. And Harry and all those guys, E.C. Oswald and those guys, and Hilton Fowler and Joe Dotson, all were great Chase Riddle supporters. And
Hickey Chapman was important.
Oh yeah, Hickey was there, and also we had a great list of guys that wore those sunglasses. And Chase said he looked up from his third base coaching position one day, and he said the sun was, you know, if you ever been to that stadium, that sun from the west, going up in the west, is a tremendous sun. It gets in your face so quickly out at Riddle Pace Field. And he said all he could see when he looked up was a bunch of men wearing sunglasses. And he said to himself, boy, it looked like the mafia out there. And it stuck. It stuck. And, of course, Rudy Abbott, we're talking about Rudy Abbott in all respects. And if any of you Jacksonville out...
45 players selected in the Major League Baseball draft. That's a lot of guys.
Yeah.
I wonder how many coaches...
In first rounders, Ed at Barnacle and
Yeah, Barnacle could throw it, but he could hum it.
And Todd Jones in 1989. Todd Jones had 300 saves in Major League Baseball.
Yeah, that's right. I remember he made it. Yeah, he made it. Yeah, sure did.
I wonder how many players Coach Riddle had drafted. He would have more than Alabama and Auburn, or just as many every year.
I will tell you this, and this is going to stun you. When Chase Riddle last year at Troy, he was 55-10. That was his record, 55-10.
That's a good baseball record.
And you know, and of course, Jacksonville had those two great pitchers, and they played in Troy for the championships of the Gulf South Conference for the championship. And those two great pitchers they had, they were able to beat us. And you know, Chase said, "Hey, those guys are going to pitch in the major leagues one day."
Yeah,
sure enough,
he would know.
But you know, Troy.
We're talking about Rudy Abbott, the former Jacksonville State coach who passed away. Todd Jones, former major leaguer, had a great comment about Abbott. He said, "Coach Abbott was larger than life. To those of us who played for him," said Jones, the Jacksonville State Hall of Famer who pitched 16 years for major league for several clubs. He spent time with us. He gave us confidence. He cared for us in school when we didn't care about our classes. He let us be ourselves. We were being Gamecocks. He also loved it when we won games. He also loved his two national championship teams. He loved God, his family, and JSU. We won't see another one like this.
Yeah, no question about it. Surely that stadium's been named after him. I'm sure yeah, that's the case.
I bet it is.
And if Chase,
I think it's Rudy Abbott Field.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And I tell you, if Chase was living today, he would say more congratulations.
Well, you just said something.
On a job well done at Jack State. And anybody that, there's a lot of Jack State haters out there, mainly because of baseball. And Harry kept every time that he Rudy would go out to talk to a pitcher, they would say, bird legs, bird legs, bird legs. And before long, this is a fact, before long, he stopped going out there.
No.
He sent his assistant coach out there because he really felt like it was a disadvantage to his team for those guys to jump all over him just because he had skinny legs. That was Harry Baker.
You know he spoke at Chase's retirement ceremony.
I remember that. He sure did. And Betty and class act there too, beautiful class act. They had respect for Rudy, and they knew him very well.
How in the world was Rudy Abbott? 81. I felt like he was around Chase's age back then. I had no idea he was so much younger.
Yeah, that's right. And
I thought Rudy Abbott would have been in his 90s.
But let me tell you another thing too.
I didn't know he was only 81.
Before Chase was the head baseball coach at Troy, he was a scout for the southeastern part of the United States for the St. Louis Cardinals. He every year that the Cardinals won a ring, Chase won a ring. He said, Mr. What's his name? Mike.
Bush.
He said, Mr. Bush. Mr. Bush called him every year they won a championship. Said, Chase, did you get your ring? We're talking about Anheuser-Busch. And we're talking about Mr. Bush that owned the St. Louis Cardinals and our dear friend.
We had those rivalries in baseball were great. The rivalries in football were great. The rivalries in basketball were great.
Oh, yeah.
I'll if Jack State's go in Division I in every sport, which they're doing with football, I say get them back on the schedule every year.
There's some people that would hate to see it.
There's interest in that, and it'll be good for both programs.
Well, look,
sell tickets.
Well, I don't know, Bill. Look, I don't know.
Nick might not like that.
Wait a minute, I'm trying to shave a little bit right now, but you call Mike and tell him to shut up about playing Jacksonville. Hey, we don't want to play Jacksonville. You know what though? When it gets down to it, I love to beat somebody I don't like, and I never liked the Jacksonville.
Well, you need interest, it's maximum interest in your program and rivalry games, and sell tickets and get people to come to the games and be exposed to your program, and that will do it.
And
we already got enough of Jacksonville State basketball this year. That game went 3 overtimes.
Yeah.
Really found a way to win.
But I tell you what, Mike, the basketball was a huge, and we could get Coach Maestri and Coach Felix going on that because it was a hated rivalry. Coach at Jacksonville State and his assistant coach, man, he wore rings on both hands. He always wanted to make sure that everybody saw those championship rings. But hey, he was a great All-American player at Jacksonville as a player, and then later on as a great coach with Rudy Abbott, and what a good one.
Alabama got news yesterday about who was invited to the NFL Combine. Here's the invitees for Alabama: Christopher Allen, outside linebacker who blew out his, broke his ankle, against Miami in the first game last year. Never came back. He really hurt Alabama, losing him. Jalen Armour-Davis, who went early, defensive back, invited to the Combine. I never thought this guy would get invited, but he's a good slot receiver. Slade Bolden.
Oh, no, you're right.
Is invited to the Combine. Christian Harris, outside linebacker for Alabama, had a phenomenal national championship game. I think he had 3 sacks. Josh Jobe, who also got hurt, didn't play in the national championship game. Jalen Armour-Davis didn't play in the national championship game either. Jobe got invited to the Combine. He's really fast. Darian Mathis, defensive lineman, got invited to the Combine. Wide receiver John Mechie didn't play in the national championship game. Great wide receiver for Alabama, had 96 catches. He's invited. Evan Neal, a lot of people think he'll be a top 3 pick. Offensive lineman for Alabama is invited. Interesting here, Rice. LeBron Ray is invited to the NFL Combine. Former 5-star player at Alabama that was injured throughout his career. Brian Robinson, running back, no surprise there. Had a great senior year. And then the phenomenal star wide receiver receiver Jameson Williams, who went out early in the second quarter of the national championship game, was also invited to the NFL Combine.
Well, I guess Mechie and Williams will have to just be there to do the interviews because they're not going to be able to run or do anything.
Is that a record number, Mike? Is that the...
No. Alabama has 14 players invited at one time. The most invited this year will be Georgia. Georgia will have 14 players invited to the NFL Combine. Also, Jerome Ford, the former Alabama running back that transferred to Cincinnati, has also been invited.
Yeah, that's right. Or he would have been.
Last year, Alabama had 6 first-round picks, and I don't know, 10 or 12 total picks, which is phenomenal. That's a record.
Yeah.
This year, I would say, gosh, really the only guy you can say definitely. Well, I would say that Evan Neal and Williams are probably both first round, so Alabama might have 2 this year.
Yeah, Alabama possibly could have 3 because they say Christian Harris will put up phenomenal combine numbers.
Yeah.
You know, if Mechie was healthy and could show him what he had at the combine, he might be an outside chance as a first rounder too.
But they're going to be all right, ladies and gentlemen. Being injured or not, they'll mend that injury, and you'll see them on the football field maybe as soon as next fall. What do you think?
Possibly.
Oh yeah, I think you'll see both of them.
Yeah.
It used to take a year to get back from those injuries, but some people now can do it in 6 months, 7 months.
Exactly right. Of course, my good friend.
It's amazing, though. It's amazing how those doctors, I mean, they've just seen it so many times. I mean, they know immediately if they're ACL as soon as they can stop it on the field.
A salute to Don Maestri this weekend, and when he brings back the 92 team that he coached that scored one afternoon in Sartain Hall, 258 points. They beat the Bry Institute 258 to 147, and that score is a record and probably will never be broken as far as points in a game by a team like, and that team was Troy State College or Teachers College. Well, no, Troy State University.
You know, I haven't heard of anybody in Division I beating it, Division II, Division III.
Not even close.
Junior college, high school, you don't have enough minutes in a game.
Yeah. And I want to say this, Steve, Steve had the, and I appreciate it. Steve got a little ailment there. I've never heard of it. Broken heel. Yeah. A broken heel, and that sounds rough.
Tough, but bless his heart.
But he's tough now. He's tough
got his boot on, and here he is working.
He's a tough guy. I tell you that right now. Again, I don't think it.
Did he injure his heel paddleboarding? He's a professional paddleboarder.
Yeah. Well, I wish I'd brought the brochure I was looking at yesterday.
I bet he can scull that boat with that little paddle, just like Mr. Johnson used to be able to do.
I'll tell you what, man, those paddleboards, they have taken Florida by storm down here. I've seen more people buy paddleboards than have paddleboards. I think it might be too much of a workout for me.
It's going to take some coordination, I promise you.
I'm not worried about standing up on it. I'm worried about having to keep on paddling while I'm out there on the water.
Yeah.
But getting back to Troy, they're recognizing that team that set that unbelievable record, but also a lot of other Coach Maestri teams.
Oh, yeah.
Basically, all of them, or many of the teams from the Maestri Felix era, players are going to be back, and Coach Maestri's going to be there. Coach Felix, if he can, he's coaching a high school down in the Panhandle of Florida right now, where he retired. Guess he's not retired now. He came out of retirement.
And hopefully he'll be back on Saturday for all get together.
But Coach Maestri was talking
players.
about how so many of those players have done really well in life. He mentioned Andy Davis is the CEO of a Boston hospital, which is a big time.
Pretty big, yeah.
And he named several other players that have done well. And you could just tell how much they cared about these players and kept up with them. And he was telling stories about, really showing how they made lemonade out of lemons when they had to go to all these obscure conferences when we went Division I. And he said, yeah, well, that was just an opportunity for the players to see these great cities like Chicago and see Niagara Falls and Buffalo, and they'd go to tournaments in Hawaii, and he made sure that they went to see the USS Arizona and Pearl Harbor Monument.
Yeah.
So he wanted to expose these kids to the things they should be exposed to when they made these trips. I'm not surprised. That's the way Coach Maestri is.
Yeah, no question about it.
Yeah,
Class
Johnson,
act.
the Desert Eagle interviewed Andy Johnson, I think yesterday. There was a good article about Andy. Not Andy Johnson, but Andy Davis.
Yeah.
Former great player for Troy. So that was on the Desert Eagle yesterday. Of course, Davis laughed in the article about how he scored only 2 points in the game. Freeport basketball, David Phillips' team right now is 13-11 and 6-1 in their league in their District 2 area.
Oh, that's
so,
pretty good, yeah.
I guess we'll find out how they do on Friday night.
That's another unique thing about the Maestri era. It was really, Coach Maestri always referred to co-coaches. It was Coach Maestri and Felix.
Yeah, that's what he said, yeah.
And they stuck together all 30 years.
That's right.
I think Coach Felix had been an assistant on Coach
the
Bazilia's
West
staff
Virginia,
right
that's
before
right. Yeah.
that. And
Yeah.
of course, he'd been a great player.
And a
I never got
great
to see him, but I've
shooter.
heard that he was.
I'll tell you right now, if he and our other local great player,
Carl
Hollis, could have shot the three back when they played, they would have scored. Both of them scored 30 points a game. If they could have shot the three, because they were great shooters. And of course, Felix came from the great state of Indiana. Wouldn't you say probably the next to UCLA, the University of Indiana was one of the, along with Kentucky, was 3 of the great programs in the country.
Basketball, they love basketball. And
Sure it is.
It's in their blood.
And, now...
Where's Mary Felix? Where's she from? Is she?
Mary's from Montgomery, if I remember right. And, they met at Troy, and happily ever after.
Coach
She was a
Maestri
wonderful teacher.
Met his wife at Troy.
Yep, and she was actually came in here from the great state of Ohio, was where she came from.
Yeah,
Mary.
she's becoming a teacher. That's what Coach Maestri said.
That's right, yeah. Because,
I remember Drew Felix.
Boy, he was good. I tell you what, he could play.
He was on one of the Charles Simpson's best basketball teams ever. He was one of the guards. But I remember Drew as a ball boy from probably when he was 4 years old. And so during the games, the ball boys would come out and shoot in warm-ups and halftime and after the game. And, gosh, you could see that Drew was a little Pistol Pete Maravich when he was.
Well, if we had any kind of intercom, I would play it today. But you know what their song they came in on, don't you?
The Harlem Globetrotters song, Sweet Georgia Brown.
Yeah, Sweet Georgia Brown. Sweet Georgia Brown.
They stopped that though after a while. He did that at the beginning. That was Coach Maestri knew that he had to get some more interest in the program, and so he did anything and everything he could to get support and fans, and it worked.
They back in the day, you'd see these basketball, what they call, I would say, they come in and they do exhibitions. And one of those teams, the men came in, and all of them had big black beards and all, and they were called the House of David.
Yeah.
And and then you had of course, the Globetrotters were much bigger than that.
Have you ever seen the Globetrotters?
Yes, sir. I've seen them numerous times.
Are they still around?
Yeah, they're still around. Yes, sir.
Troy University, you'd have to ask Coach Maestri, but Troy had a former player that was a part of the Globetrotters for several years.
Yeah, Andy would have been a good part of it. Andy Davis. Andy Davis reminded me so much of Magic Johnson. Might not have been a...
He looked like him, kind of.
Yeah, that's right.
He was a fifth guy. Yeah, you're right.
Well, he was a big guard that actually played like a small forward. He was great on defense, got rebounds, could pass it off. He wasn't really a ball handler. But I was around those guys because I was the sports editor at the Messenger at the time, and I always thought, he is really well-spoken and smart, and, he was just an all-around leader and great student.
We're gonna have Coach. We're gonna have our interview with Coach Maestri on our show tomorrow.
Do you want to hear the way too early top 25 for the next football season 2022?
All right, yeah, that'd be fun to hear.
This is from ESPN. ESPN's top 25 for next year to start the season. Who do you think number one is?
Alabama.
Georgia.
Alabama, you're right. Alabama's number one. Number two is Ohio State.
Ohio State.
Number three is Georgia.
Georgia on my mind.
Stetson Bennett, everybody's All-American, is coming back at quarterback. J.T. Daniels is in the transfer portal. Number four, number one recruit class in the country, Texas A&M.
A&M. All right.
King will be back at quarterback, but he'll have to battle the LSU transfer Max Johnson.
Oh boy, I don't think he'll have a hard time with that. I don't think I've never been that.
He might.
He's pretty now, but I don't know how good he is.
This coach decided to come back. He was leading candidate for the Minnesota Vikings job. Jim Harbaugh at Michigan at number 5. Notre Dame comes in at number 6. Of course, they have a new coach. Number 7 is Utah. They were pretty phenomenal late in the season last year. Great Rose Bowl as well. Interesting at number 8 here. I haven't seen this in a long, long time. Maybe when Phillip Rivers was there, but NC State is coming in at number 8.
Oh boy. NC State comes out of nowhere.
This is according to one writer at ESPN, I guess.
This is ESPN's early top 25 for next year. Oklahoma State had a great year. They're coming in at number 9. Michigan State, Mel Tucker had a great year, coming in at number 10. They got
I think they get
transfers out of the portal last year, and I think out of their 22 starters, 11 were transfers last year.
Oh man,
they won the portal sweepstakes.
Then number 11, this team struggled, but finished I think 10-3. Clemson is number 11. Number 12 is Oregon. They have a new coach. It's with Georgia's defense coordinator Dan Lanning. Kudos here to Dana Hogerson. They have Houston number 13 coming into the season. Wake Forest is number 14. They had a great year last year, won 10 games. Iowa comes in at number 15. Baylor at number 16. Oklahoma at number 17. So that's definitely a drop off.
Oh, I know it.
There's a new coach there. They got Dylan Gabriel as their transfer quarterback. Former UCF quarterback.
Wait a minute. Hold on about that. Now, Gabriel played for Central Florida. And
he's the one that hurt his shoulder.
And he's going to be at Oklahoma?
Yeah, he's the one that broke his shoulder at Louisville in that game they're winning.
Yeah.
Intercepted the pass late, won the game. BYU at number 18. Keep in mind, UAB beat BYU in the bowl game. Cincinnati at number 19. Arkansas at number 20. Kentucky at number 21, USC at 22, Lincoln Riley's their new coach, Lane Kiffin has Ole Miss at 23, Wisconsin at 24, and South Carolina, wow, Shane Beamer is, ESPN's got South Carolina in the top 25 for the season. No Auburn.
Hold on a minute.
Good morning, you're on Today in L.A.
What you up to?
Hello.
Hey, Bill.
Hey, is this Will?
Will, you bring Mike back. Oh, you Mike.
Congratulations, Will, on your new grandchild.
Did you? What, boy or girl? Boy or girl?
Just boy.
Congratulations.
Now let me ask you this: your son, this was their 4th child.
No, this is his daughter. This is my daughter that practices law with me.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, I got you.
This is her first child.
Yeah, I got you. And
my son's wife's going to have one Friday tomorrow.
Oh boy, if this will make 4. This will make 4 for him.
Will, how are you going to pay for college for all these grandkids? How many kids now you got to pay for college for grandkids now? 6? Michael, I'll be dead by the time they go to college.
Oh boy.
I would love to be alive. By the time they go to college.
All right, but the thing about it, your son has built a family. He now has 4 children, and how long? How old is the oldest?
3.
3. Oh gosh.
3, 2, 1, and a baby.
Boy, is that something?
He has no twins, which is amazing.
Yeah.
No twins. Yeah.
Hey, listen. Don't be having any kid named Donald now. You no need to have one named Donald. Named Donald. Who? What are their names? Some of them. Do you know them?
Well, Emma, Elizabeth, and Major are the 3 he's got.
I like Major.
Major. That's after Major the dentist there, and.
Major Stonewall Matthews is his name.
Oh boy.
That's great.
Named after Stonewall Jackson, is that right?
Major Ogilvy, I bet.
And Major Ogilvy?
Are we going to get a William? If this was a boy, it's going to be William B. Matthews the 4th.
Oh, wow.
And y'all don't.
Finding out.
You mean?
This is a surprise one.
I like that. I like that.
Yeah. They knew those 3.
Yeah. Well, that's something. That's a
Big
great
news.
thing.
Happy
You know,
news.
so many people find out that whether they're going to have a boy or a girl. They find out early, and it does. It takes some of the surprise away from it.
Yep.
Yeah, I remember when my wife told me we were having a girl. I was like, what in the world am I going to do with a little girl? I love these little girls more than anything in the world.
You're right. Oh yeah, I know you do. Well, you know, I'm not going to tell the story of my twins that were born, and I was the only one in the waiting room. It was about 7:30 at night, and the lady pushed out a cart, and I looked down. There were 2 babies in that cart, and I said, "Which one's mine?" And she said, "You better look again." And we had twins, but at that time, when those twins were born, listen, this is a big hospital in Montgomery, Baptist South, one of the top positions at that hospital. When the first one was born, I think that was you, Michael, wasn't it?
Yeah, I'm 11 minutes older.
And then 11 minutes later, his mean little daughter, Camille,
My little daughter, a little sister, she was born. So I know what it is to be surprised.
Mm-hmm. I bet you do.
Nobody expected twins, and I'll tell you this: when she went in there, they were expecting a 13-pound child, but didn't even think about it.
Had 2 7-pound children.
And having twins.
My mom always claims there was like one old nurse that said, "Honey, you're having twins." That's what Mom said before.
But it didn't leave that room. I didn't know anything about it, and I'm the daddy, you know.
I mean, that was only in 1976.
I know it.
Technology in 1976 to tell if you were having twins.
That's right. Exactly right.
You were born in the bicentennial year.
I want to say it was 5 pounds 10 ounces and 6 pounds 11 ounces, something like that. Where you outweighed your twin sister.
Yeah, it's crazy how life works. Of course, when you had your stroke, it's coming up on a year. That was actually at the hospital that we were born in on that day 45 years ago.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
You
had your stroke on our birthday.
Yeah. What do you think?
And you got sent to Baptist Hospital.
What's your birthday?
April 6, 1976, and the day we were born, my dad had a stroke and got sent to Baptist Hospital on April 6, 2021.
You know, you share a birthday with my late mother, Marcia. Her birthday was April 6th.
Yeah. Oh boy, isn't that something? And then my little girl, Macon, was born on April 1st.
April 4th day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that she was quite a gift to our family.
Auburn's still got their coach. Is that going to happen today, you think, instead of yesterday?
Well, he's been in Mexico. I didn't know this.
Yeah, on vacation.
Yeah, I read that too.
And they want to interview him and ask him a bunch of questions. So he's been avoiding that. So yesterday they passed a rule that said if you don't cooperate in an investigation, they can fire you. So I don't know what in the world they're up to in Auburn now.
He's got an $18 million buyout.
Oh, boy.
To operate and answer every question they want if he wants to get that buyout.
Yeah.
$18 million. Wow.
Well,
I don't want to be. I don't want to scare my Auburn friends, but say he's gone, like a lot of people say. I mean, don't you think that even more Auburn players are going to transfer and get out?
But,
I mean, they've already lost about 20 players, I think. So, I mean, Auburn
25.
could.
They've lost 25.
all right.
Between graduation, the draft, and transfers, I mean, you could have a situation where you would have 40 scholarship players.
Auburn fans, I found out some information.
Hey, Bill, they've lost 25 to the transfer portal, not graduate. That's not counting graduation.
Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to tell you something today that not many people know.
And their signing class, another bad sign is they signed, had a really good signing class in December. But in the February signing class, they signed out.
What did people behind me get?
We'll what you're getting is some sausage and biscuits and what? What else we going to get?
Well, I got this is the craziest thing. I'm at Hardee's, and the guy in front of me bought my breakfast.
He did. Okay, he was listening to you on the radio, wasn't he?
That happens a lot, actually. I've had that happen to me many times at Chick-fil-A.
I've never had it happen to me.
All right, I'm going to stun you, Will. I know some inside stuff going on at Auburn, and I'll let y'all try to guess who you think the top candidate for the Auburn job, if that comes.
Mike, there's only one candidate.
All right, who was it?
Hugh Freeze is the only candidate.
All right, you're wrong. All right, bump. All right, who's the other one?
The only other guy I can think is Clark out of Birmingham at UAB.
Bump. Anybody else? Rice?
Kevin Steele, the defensive coordinator at Miami.
Bump. Guess who the next football coach at Auburn University is going to be?
Larry Blakey.
Now, y'all throw them out. You keep throwing them out if you want to.
Neil Brown.
No. No, not Gundy. You know who it is?
It's going to be the sports agent.
Urban Meyer.
It's going to be Pat Dye Jr.
They still can't figure this thing out. Ladies and gentlemen, the new head football coach at Auburn University, Bob Stoops. They want Bob Stoops. Hey, listen to this. The yellow man wants Bob Stoops.
Ooh.
Hey, we're guessing.
He did coach us on to a bowl win.
Hey, let me tell you this. Did y'all would have never, Bob Stoops is a good candidate for the job, and y'all did not name
Yeah,
name him.
he would be.
We named Urban Meyer yesterday, but we didn't name Stoops. Stoops is 61.
Yeah, he's still young. Yeah. Bob Stoops is the new head football coach at Auburn.
Well, I bet you have a good source for that.
Well, I just heard it from a pretty reliable source.
I'll say this: if they hire Stoops and they're buying out Harsin and they're still buying out Malzahn, I mean, you're talking about Stoops would have to be around $8 million.
The yellow man has unlimited funds, that they say. Now I don't know. All of this has been thrown out there this morning.
I read an article that just got their biggest donation in school history on Tuesday.
From who?
I just read that on an article. I can't remember the name of who gave the money.
You know, there are people out there that are so rich because of their good business savvy and the investments they've had and how great the stock market's been in the last 15 years, that they can make a huge donation. Probably some of it's a tax write-off, with not even blinking an eye.
Mike, let me tell you,
Y'all know who Dr. Marnick Hairsink is?
Yeah, he's an eye doctor in Dothan.
He's the one that gave UAB $100 million.
$100 million.
Wow.
And and he started the eye clinic in Dothan, didn't he? Hairsink did, or what?
He did.
Well, just say,
I got operated on 2 weeks ago.
just say, for example, that you invested heavily in Google, or to pick up one, or Amazon, 10 years ago, and that, but then you, yeah, and that stock keeps doubling and doubling and doubling, and before you know it, you got $100 million. It's almost like pocket change.
Of course, all of this is not. You can't take out any of this to the bank yet, but I know. To me, that sounds like a pretty good choice to come in after the tobacco that they've had over there. So, what do y'all think?
I don't know if he's got the energy for it.
Yeah, but you know what?
Been retired. I don't think he wants to come back at Auburn.
I don't know. It's a pretty good job.
It's a dumpster fire, Mike.
Yeah, but what you do, you go in there and you get a 10-year buyout, and then you take the job.
Well, he doesn't need anything to buy Stoops. He's got more money he could ever spend.
Yeah, that's true too. He doesn't need the money. He doesn't need a job.
Well, ego, and a lot of.
If all Stoops wanted a job, he would have taken the Oklahoma job again.
Yep, that's what I thought too.
Well, let me tell you something. And all of you guys are Auburn fans, Alabama fans, all of you are Alabama fans. But there's not more rabid group of fans anywhere than Auburn. They're probably the most rabid football school in the country.
They have the hardest stadium to win in, at least for Alabama, when you play at their place. The intensity and desire to win the game is palpable.
Well, let me ask you this. Alabama pulled it off, and they might have had 100 people go out on the field maybe. If Auburn would have won that game, they might still be pouring out of Jordan Hare Stadium.
They would pay the $250,000 fine.
They would have paid $1 million fine to do for that. And the yellow man would probably wrote the check.
That's what's so amazing to me is that Coach Harsin in November had a team that was exceeding expectations. Then they lost some close, bizarre games where they had big leads, but then they bounced back and had Alabama on the ropes the whole dang game. So the team wasn't that bad. But
they lost 5 or 6 in a row to end the season, though.
Last night.
But they almost beat the team that finished second in the nation.
Let me just tell you though about supporters. A friend of mine, I talked to him yesterday. I hadn't talked to him in 30 years probably, and we had a great conversation. And he lives in Nashville. Where all those rich people live in Nashville, Mike? Brentwood, yeah. He lives in Brentwood. His address is Brentwood, Tennessee. Well, I asked him. I said, "What do you do?" And he said, "Well, I'm a stockbroker and a analyst." And I said, "Are you doing pretty good?" He said, "Well, last I checked on it, we were handling over $550 million that we're handling. That's all his clients and so forth."
So he gets a commission of all that.
Yeah, he's an Auburn graduate. Grew up right here in Troy. His parents well known, and he's just one of the many thousands of people at Auburn that have gone out and made a bunch of money.
I want to tell you, I got a Brentwood story. I hope it doesn't sound like I'm bragging about who I knew, but a fraternity brother of mine in Alabama, Sigma Nu, in my pledge class is a guy named Mason Rogers from Nashville, from Brentwood. Well, his daddy was Joe Rogers, who was from Montgomery. Probably knows Dickie Calhoun.
Oh, I'm sure he does.
He was Montgomery boy, done well. Somehow he went into Nashville and got into lumber or some business and became good buddies with Reagan. And when I was in college, you know what Joe Rogers, Mr. Rogers, did? What his job was? He was the U.S. ambassador to France.
Oh, really?
So I could have gone. I guess I could have gone over to Paris and stayed at the embassy. When
it's 8 o'clock, we'll be back.
And Mason.
Our community is the driving force behind our stores. Our commitment to you has been our #1 priority for over 30 years. Whether it is providing quality, fresh, local, and affordable products or aiding local schools, churches, and charities, Piggly Wiggly is here for you.
I wish you could taste how much better food tastes when cooked on a Green Mountain grill, but I can let you in on the reason that's true. Our pellets contain water, so they create steam while you cook, keeping your food moist. Does a gas or charcoal grill do that? I think not.
Come and see us at Southern Grill and Patio just off the square in Troy.
Troy Cable Security Wi-Fi doorbell camera allows you to answer the door from your smartphone when you are at home, at work, or on the go. When a visitor presses the button, Troy Cable Security sends a live video feed to your smartphone so you can see, hear, and speak to the person at your door. With the doorbell camera, you can have your porch light turn on automatically when it detects motion at night to create the appearance that someone is at home. You can view video clips so you can always know who stopped by when you were out. Troy Cable Security. You love them, protect them.
Life is hectic enough without worrying if your lights will stay on or if there's hot water for your child's bath. So count on natural gas to keep the energy flowing, even when the weather is unpredictable. Natural gas is always there to keep your home warm, showers hot, and food cooked to perfection. That's why America has relied on safe and affordable natural gas for more than 150 years. And we will be here for you and future generations too. You can count on natural gas from Southeast Alabama Gas District.
Right here, right now. It's the Premier Super Truck Sale. 1,500, 2,500, 3,500, and even a 4,500. Ram, Ford, Chevy, GMC. Over 55 trucks. Super Truck Sale price. Save up to $10,000 on select models. Nobody beats a Premier deal. Nobody.
Back to our show, ladies and gentlemen. We have as much fun when we're on break as when we are off break. And we want to mention our good friends at Goldfingers. If you haven't tried their fried chicken, you are missed out on the best chicken in town. Goldfingers. And also, Jean's Flowers can send flowers anywhere in this country, and they'll have it today. Great people, Jean's Flowers, and also the Alabama Real Estate Connection. See Carol Amos at 672-0100. 672-0100.
I want to hear your Brentwood story. I told you my little Brentwood story.
When I was playing golf at Bandit, they had the National Blind Golf Tournament in Nashville at Brentwood Country Club. All these golfers coming from all over the country were blind. Okay? Well, they called me up, wanted me to do a 9-hole exhibition with 2 blind golfers, and they had me and Will Brewer, who was #1 golfer at Lipscomb. I was the #1 golfer at Fancy. So we went out there, and this was the catch. We had to play blindfolded.
Oh.
Oh, man.
Charlie Boswell, I know Mike will remember Charlie Boswell.
Oh, yeah, no question.
He's in the Alabama Sports Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
And then Pat Brown, he's a lawyer from New Orleans.
Was he blind? He was blind too?
Oh, yeah, they were blind.
Yeah.
Right? So we went out there, and they blindfolded us, and I hit balls and had a guide, they call him a guide, and when you putted, they took the pin and they rattled the pin so you could know where it was, and you step it off how far you were. And I was amazed. I played pretty good. I shot a 39 blind.
Oh gosh.
The only problem I got in the sand trap. And, I just could not. I left the sand trap on the first shot.
Ryan, you gotta go ahead. Ryan, you gotta write a book about Will Matthews.
Well, the stories and tales of Will Matthews.
Charlie Boswell and Coach Bryant were very.
Oh yeah.
Very close, and years, like 3 or 4 years later, when I played golf with Coach Bryant, I told him about that. He howled. And this, but Pat Brown, let me tell you, this lawyer from New Orleans, he won the tournament. He shot a 35 and he's blind.
Oh my gosh.
Oh me.
It was uncanny, and when they would pop that pin, every time he putted, he'd get within a foot of the hole.
Amazing. Charlie Boswell was good friends of Bob Hope somehow.
Yeah, that's right. They were friends.
Yep.
Boy, I tell you, stories and tales of
I don't know.
my good friend Will Matthews.
It must have been a big thing to promote golfing for the blind back then. You don't hear about it much anymore. But did you say, Will? You remember the tournament several years ago where the girl with Down syndrome played a hole with one of the pros?
It was actually where they're playing this week, Bill.
That's right. And then I think it was that hole.
And it was the guy that won the U.S. Open at Pebble Beach.
His name is
She parred the hole.
Gary Woodland.
Gary Woodland pulled her out of the crowd, and she hit a shot up there. I mean, it was phenomenal.
That's amazing. Of course, our show's brought to you by Premier Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, and Ram trucks in Troy. And I talked to Jason, and they've got a sale that you can't beat today. Always remember, nobody beats a Premier deal. Nobody.
So the donation to Auburn was by a couple named Connie and Bill Neville. It's going to be now, instead of Auburn Arena, it's going to be called the Neville Arena in basketball now at Auburn University. It doesn't say Connie and Bill Neville are originally from Eufaula.
Are you serious? Okay. We've got good friends from Eufaula, Mike.
Well, how much could the CEO of Apple donate to Auburn? I'm sure he's already donated a lot, but he's one of the richest people in the world.
And he's an Auburn guy?
He's an Auburn graduate and grew up down in Baldwin County, I think.
Tim somebody.
Tim Cook.
Yeah, apparently the Neville, his father and grandparents graduated from Auburn. He graduated from Rice with a mathematics, computer science degree.
You mean from Rice? From Rice?
He founded several technology firms on St. Croix, focusing on television news, automation, broadband development, sports analytics. His wife also apparently was real successful as well.
And both now his wife didn't graduate from Auburn, did she?
I guess their families graduated.
Oh, I got you. That's right. Boy, oh boy, you're right. The rich get richer, no question about it.
And they give to their colleges. I've always wondered, why don't some people give to their high schools or the schools where they went to K through 12? You can make so much more of a difference, but you never hear of anybody giving these big donations. Like renovations could be made at Charles Henderson High School, and I've always thought you could renovate the grounds and make them real pretty to go with the rest of Troy University, but it would take a good amount of money. Well, don't you think there's plenty of Charles Henderson alumni that's got a lot of money and have super fond memories like you do of going to school there?
That's right, yeah.
But when they donate money, they give it to their university, which I'm not against giving money to your university. I just don't understand why more people don't give it to
the name is Bill Neville Coliseum on the campus of Auburn University. Bill
Have you
Neville
heard about what Charles
Coliseum.
Barkley did at his class reunion?
No.
Well, Charles Barkley had his 30th class reunion. Okay? Where was he from? Leeds?
Leeds, Alabama, you're right. The green and the white of Leeds.
All right. So he goes to his class reunion. They have a nice class reunion, whatever. They're having like a party or whatever. And he had everybody that showed up sign their name and address so he could keep up with it. Okay? There were maybe 150 people there. He sent all 150 a check for $25,000.
Oh, no.
And the ones that didn't go didn't get it.
Are you serious? I mean, just gave them the money for their for scholarship?
I've never heard that story.
And
Charles has donated a lot of money, though.
You can find it on the internet somewhere because I read
I tell you,
No, he's lost a lot of money because he's a big gambler and he got into some bad investments, but he's so rich.
Yeah, but we don't,
Yeah,
listen.
Charles Barkley's got a vodka that's come out now, too. He's in the vodka business.
What?
Vodka business.
Oh, okay.
The vodka business, he's got a vodka.
Oh, okay.
Well, he's one of those celebrities that's done so well with endorsements.
Yeah, I noticed that they started mixing a little dirt on our distillery here, Michael, and that's something to be excited about.
Yeah, Clyde Mack.
Yeah, and they're starting to break a little ground on it. I noticed the other day, and more.
That's a popular bourbon. I see it on a daily basis in and out of restaurants and bars down there.
But I was mentioning my friend that I talked to. I hadn't talked to him in years. I mean, years, and it was just a great conversation. And we, and I said to myself, why haven't I contacted him before now? And because we actually grew up together, and he played for the Tigers. His daddy was a coach of the Tigers, and I played for the Indians, and of course, his daddy was a good coach too, and growing up.
I can remember the teams when my Dixie Youth League. There was the Tigers and the Indians and the Pirates and the Astros. I played on the Astros. Jimmy Messick was my coach.
They had the Cardinals and the Red Sox.
No, we didn't have those. We had the Mets. I think those were it. I think we had 6 teams.
I don't remember a Mets.
It changed from 1977 to 19.
But they got bigger. Yesterday, I made a little trip over to the Troy Sports
Sportsplex
Center, Sportsplex, and I'm going to start going back and going swimming in that. It says their pool is 87 degrees year round. Their heated pool is 87 degrees. Can you believe that?
I've been in it several times.
And of course, it's good for you too. And then I looked over at some people that were walking around the track, and I couldn't believe how they look now because they exercise.
My dad did that for a while and got in pretty good shape. He had a little group he walked with every morning, and it made a huge difference. So good for you, Mike.
Yeah, these are guys, right? The 2 of these guys that I saw were friends of your daddy's, and when he was out,
I need to go out there and do the same thing.
We hadn't even mentioned a huge basketball game tonight. Trojan Arena. Troy 16-7. 7-3 in the Sun Belt will play Arkansas State, who's 15-6.
Oh, yeah, that's going to be a big one.
6-3 in the Sun Belt, so a huge game tonight as far as conference tournament seeding coming up. Also, it was announced big news for Troy basketball as well. The last game of the season against Texas State at home will be on ESPN2.
Against Texas State.
Texas State will be on ESPN2, so that's a great exposure for the basketball team.
Yeah.
Well, we've been talking about this Saturday game, which is good. I don't know what we need to find out what time that's going to be. Whether they're going to honor the 2:58 team.
Yeah, it'll be a 4:00 game.
4 o'clock game.
All right, so put it down on your calendar. 4 o'clock Saturday, and then tonight at what time, Michael? Do you know?
Tonight looks like 6 o'clock.
That's going to be a big.
I mean, Troy's got a chance to win this league, and they're playing a team that's got 3 losses just like them. So huge game.
And I imagine, Mike.
If Troy wins the next 2, they'll be 18-7 with 4 games left to play. Have a great chance to get 20 wins for the first time, I guess, since the team that played Duke in the NCAA tournament. Dad and I went to that game.
Yeah, had a lot of fun.
The Texas State game on ESPN2 will be at home, so hopefully Troy can have a huge crowd for national television.
Yeah.
Would it be something if Troy won the tournament for the Sun Belt and got to play Auburn in the NCAA tournament?
Oh, wouldn't that be? That's right.
That's actually a really good point, because Troy could be a 1. I mean, not a 1, a 16, and Auburn could be will probably be a 1.
Yeah.
Yep.
And you never can tell. Also, might
Troy
be a
played
play-in.
Auburn in a preseason scrimmage, 2 years ago?
Yeah,
you were one of the few people that's actually watched it.
I watched it. I saw him play Auburn off the feet, but Auburn ended up winning by 10, but it was a great game. With no people in the stands now. Auburn won by 10.
Yeah, isn't that cool that they did that? Just drove a bus over and played a game with nobody knowing about it.
They're exactly right before the season. And you know what? He was just as loud now as he is at the games, talking about the coach.
Bruce Pearl.
Oh man, he shouted at those officials all day long, and they went with about 10 people in the gym, and he still gave them hell. He's ruthless now. I'm telling you, can't you see that guy coming down there to talk to you if you're an official?
Mike, you know how Bruce Pearl got his start?
At I'll tell you what school, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, Miss Milwaukee.
No.
He was at some school and got the school, ended up putting the school on probation as an assistant coach.
Now, hey, let me tell you how he got his start at Boston College.
That's right, yeah.
He was the mascot at Boston College,
no.
dressed up like an eagle.
Oh no.
And he would stand under the basket and disrupt the free throw shooting.
Oh gosh.
And one night they won a game because he disrupted the free throw guy and missed both free throws.
And
coach, Tom Davis, called him to his office, and anyway, he showed up, and he was like a senior in college. He said, "What you gonna do with yourself?" I said, "Well, I don't know. I'd like to coach." He said, "I'll tell you what. I'm gonna give you a student coaching thing. You can go to grad school and be on my staff." And that's how he got his start.
Are you serious?
I have never heard that story.
Now that Tom Davis, that's a
He
pretty.
was a great coach, Tom Davis.
Was that Kermit Davis's his son?
No, he's no kid.
No.
Okay.
He actually ended up being a full-time assistant for Davis from 1986 to 1982 when he was at Iowa.
So Bruce Pearl did not play college basketball. It's like all these college football coaches that never played college football.
He was the Eagle.
Yeah, that is the way the mascot.
He was a 1982 graduate from Boston College, where he served as the manager of the men's basketball team. Is what it says.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
And he's made a difference. You're right. Charles Simpson got beat last night by Greenville, 74-71. Can y'all believe that?
Oh wow, are they out of the area? They're not gonna make the playoffs now?
What now? Wait a minute. You said they won? Oh, they won the basketball game, 74-71.
Wow, because I was going to say the playoffs had started.
Yeah.
It would have been done if they'd lost, wouldn't it?
No, it's one of those crazy things where they.
The number 1 seed gets to.
The Greenville will still be in the tournament. They'll play in a different bracket though. Charles Simpson won that game 74-71. I don't know how I got that about Greenville. And
How did Carroll do in the playoffs?
Carroll, let's see. I'm looking at Carroll of Ozark.
They must have lost.
Where was that tournament? The game played in Greenville or Troy or where?
I don't know. It says it was Greenville versus Troy. Usually the one on the end is the home team. But I don't.
Y'all ever seen Bruce Pearl's overall record? It's insane. 622 wins, only 238 losses. Seven .723 winning percentage.
Yeah.
Gosh, that is amazing.
Want to mention Eufaula continues to win. They've got a great, one of their best basketball teams ever. And then Calhoun beat Luverne last night, 49-47.
Tough loss.
So that was a tough loss there.
Man, basketball, you can have some heartbreaking losses.
But now again, this is those early district plays, so they will move on to another game.
You know, you remember the losses. I can remember I was a huge fan of all the teams in my high school senior year, and our team was great. With my senior year with L.K. Hooton and Benny Thomas and Adam Richards and Rico Coleman, Michael Kelly, and they were in the finals of the regional tournament. If they won, they were going to go to Tuscaloosa and play for the state state playoffs, and they lost on a last-second shot to Eufaula, and the guy hit it from about 28 feet, and just a dagger.
Mountain Brook won, Mike. They're still in it.
Yeah, I think Mountain Brook's down to 6A now from 7A. They won several state championships in 7A and won one, I guess, last year in 6A.
You know, that team was good the next year too. They might have made the playoffs the next year. That was, Eddie McCarter was the coach, and almost went to Tuscaloosa. And who knows what they would have done if they made it to Tuscaloosa.
Michael, where is the Mountain Brook basketball coach going so good?
Sanford.
He's at Sanford, Bucky McMillan. He's won 14 games already this year.
Yeah.
He won. He also won at Oregon State this year. He was in the Elite Eight last year, and he won at Ole Miss this year.
Hey, boy, I tell you.
I knew he would do great. It's like the coach at Pike Road, baseball coach. You know, he could go straight from high school to college and be successful.
And you know, Will, they pressure all over the court. They are constantly pressuring you. So it's a lot like old UCLA basketball.
They call it Bucky ball.
What now? Bucky ball.
Bucky ball.
Yeah.
I remember talking about Charles Simpson great basketball teams. One of the most talented I ever saw was Drew Felix's team. We talked about him with Malcolm Battle and Corey King and Deveridge and I can't remember who else. They had some unbelievable team for Coach Hollis. Well, they were number 1, 2, or 3 in the state. Won a ton of games, and they got to the first round of the state, and they played John Carroll of Birmingham, a Catholic school that played that style where they pressed you constantly.
Exactly.
Man, they blew out Charles Henderson. Just,
talking about great shows, ladies and gentlemen, tomorrow we will be featuring the Don Maestri show, a long interview with Coach Don Maestri right here on this show. And if you didn't catch it the other day, look for it tomorrow on our show as we preview the coach that led his team to the largest scoring deal of all time in America.
He told us that he was. How did they go from just a traditional basketball to this Loyola Marymount?
That's right. Yeah.
He said he and Coach Felix were relaxing, having some cocktails one night, and Loyola Marymount was on TV, and they said, "Wow, this is interesting." And they knew they had no tall play. The tallest player, Coach Maestri said, coming back the next year was 6'5", which is probably Terry McCord or somebody.
Right,
I don't know. And they on that night said, "We're going to do that." And the rest is history. They completely changed.
258 points in one game, and I don't even believe I've ever seen anybody else even surpass 200. Now going into the game, Troy held the record of 189. Is that right?
Against DeVry the year before.
Yeah, against DeVry, and then they come in there and they shot lights out. I know people laugh, they smicker. Let me tell you. Take a basketball and take your best shooter out there and see how long it takes him to get 51 three-pointers, we'll run and clock. And they're going to celebrate this team's 258. And, of course, I hope they'll get some exposure nationally because this is a record that nobody's going to ever break. Nobody's going to ever break.
It is the most newsworthy athletic feat in the history of Troy athletics.
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking about a record that has stood for 30 years that will probably stand for another 30 years.
And we're going to give it all the exposure we can give it by, again, airing the interview we had with Coach Don Maestri. I think you'll enjoy it, don't you think?
I wish they might be doing it. Troy Television should have that game in their video archives, and I'd love it if they'd replay that game for kids that weren't around then to watch it.
You know, in fact,
Also, Coach Maestri said he's real close to Alabama's program. Attends practices and knows Nate Oates and knows the players. So
but we're talking about a point total that will never be broken by the UCLA's, the Kentucky's, all the great programs out there. They'll never do what Troy did on that Sunday afternoon. Was it Sunday or what Saturday? Sunday afternoon.
It was a Sunday afternoon.
Right after my boys, my young son had been playing in the snow. Is that right, Mike?
Maestri said he didn't think it snowed that day.
You know what? I think he's wrong. I think he's wrong.
I think it snowed the day before, and there was still a little snow left.
Still snow left on the. It was
not much, but
it was snow that was left on the ground. Yeah. And let me ask you this. I'll tell you what, there's a threat for snow Sunday. Did y'all know that?
No, after this warm weather?
There's a threat for snow. It's going to be the coldest day of the year.
Do you know, did you watch a couple of weeks ago when we had these snow flurries in Troy?
Yeah, that's right.
It didn't stick, but, I mean, for about an hour, it was coming down pretty good.
Well, there's a chance Sunday morning you're going to see the same thing. And of course, it's going to be a great weekend, and you'll be allowed to be a lot of festivities going on.
But before that, we got to beat Arkansas State tonight in the big conference game.
Sure is, no question about it. Big game, and I'm going to be there sitting on the front row and cheering my team on. I hope a lot of folks that this is great basketball in a super, super arena. One of the prettiest arenas you'll find anywhere in basketball.
If you haven't been to a game, this is a fun Troy team to watch. We've noticed sometimes they don't hit the three-pointers, but they're good on defense. They play really hard. They got some great athletes, and they're the tallest team Troy's ever had.
Yeah, let me say this.
Right now, Troy is playing a lineup, which is kind of hard to believe because the little guard got hurt, Duke Dean. So they got Duke Miles, who's about 6'2", 6'3" at guard. They're playing the punter kid, whose brother played at Tennessee. He's playing the two guard. He's 6'5". Then they got this T.K. Smith kid out of Memphis that's really starting to shoot a lot of threes for Troy. He's 6'5". And then they got a Diggy that's the center for Troy, 6'9". And then they got Zay Williams at 6'9". That's the tallest lineup I've ever seen.
I think these two big men might go down. One day, Mike will be the best two big men that Troy's ever had. I think they'll be that good.
Diggy is a transfer from Utah, and he was a guy that Troy picked up.
Yeah, he is. He really is. Well, it's going to be a lot of fun to watch. I know Coach Cross expects you to come out and watch his team play because it is a good one of the best teams.
What about
one of the best teams we've had in 10 years or more.
What about the little guard? Is he going to be healthy, or we're going to get him back?
I hope so.
I would think so. I think it's just an ankle, so I think he'll be back. So, right now in Vegas, Troy is only a 3-point favorite at home tonight, so keep that in mind.
That's right. No question about it.
Well, it's a good team we're playing.
Yeah, no question about it. Hope that you've enjoyed our show today, and of course, again, we're going to have the replay of the Coach Maestri's interview. We interviewed him about an hour and a half or more, and had a great conversation with him. And you can look forward to that tomorrow right here on this show. And of course, we appreciate all of the sponsors so much. And again, thank you for watching our show. We'll see you tomorrow, bright and early, for Today in L.A.
Our community is the driving force behind our